Pack the diaper bag and get out. That's what my husband said. Voice calm like he was moving a meeting. Not a wife with a 6-week-old asleep on her chest. Not a life we built from shared passwords and late-night spreadsheets. I looked past him to the driveway, saw a blonde twisting her hands, my pearl studs in her ears, and I swear, the Gulf breeze turned sharp, like it was choosing sides. I didn't scream, I just held my daughter tighter and told him the truth he hated most. You didn't free yourself today, Grant, you just let me go. I wish I left with a plan. I left with a baby, a busted Corolla, and a spine you could see from space. I rented a studio over a bodega in Ybor City. The landlord smiled like a friendly uncle when he took cash, then forgot his receipt book. 2 weeks later, a pink eviction notice flapped on my door like a dare. There's a math you learn fast when you've got a feverish newborn and $37. It's quiet and mean, and it makes you efficient. Mrs. Alvarez from 2B knocked with her house slippers on, read the notice like it owed her money, and said her cousin ran a tiny marketing shop over a bakery. He needed someone who could make a small business look big. I was overqualified. Perfect, she said. Make him look like a genius. That's how I ended up answering phones by day and writing decks by night, with my daughter sleeping in a drawer I lined with towels, talking to roti shop owners and Haitian barbers, learning how to take their pride and put it on a page, you know what I mean? Making the little look large, making hope sound like a strategy. Then life did what life does. It tested the hinge one night. I heard voices downstairs, my boss trying to protect me, a man with a cigar. Voice saying she used to be married to Whitaker, she's a risk, keep her, or lose our protection. And that word protection hung in the air, like Florida humidity. 2 days after they let me go, my daughter spiked a fever that scared the soul out of me. I ran red lights to the ER with a maxed card and a prayer. The receptionist said 300, just to be seen then. A man in a suit said, "The policy can wait," and moved us straight to triage. He introduced himself as Dr. Rowan Pierce. Hands steady questions, quick not lead poisoning, a severe ear infection, kicking up trouble in her chest, antibiotics. And we breathe again, and when I exhaled, he cocked his head and smiled. "You're UWI, or Harvard, right?" "The R's give it away," I said. Harvard, and instantly hated myself for flexing. He didn't smirk, he just nodded, like he understood the itch to matter. "I know your type," he said, used to running rooms, and then he did something simple that felt like respect. He offered dinner at a place with high chairs and brought extra napkins without being asked. We talked like people who have jobs, not roles. He asked about my work, and didn't blink when I said I used to write prospectuses for my husband's hotel group. He listened the way surgeons listen to a heart through a wall, and later he texted a link to the Global Hospitality Summit in Dallas, and said, "If you need to visit your past, I'll watch the baby." That happened. I wore a dress that fit like a decision, and stood in the back of a ballroom full of men who learned the word impact from their CFO. And there he was, Grant Smooth, as imported marble selling authenticity. Like it came in cases when the Q&A opened. My hand went up on its own, "Mr. Whitaker." I asked how authentic is a resort. If the people who clean the rooms can't afford to live within 40 miles of the beach, his smile flickered. He poured a word salad into a crystal bowl. People glanced between us like they'd seen a crack in the stage. I walked out before he came off the mic. He caught my arm in the lobby and asked what I wanted. I said belonging. Then I let the door shut behind me. 2 mornings later, the news hit like a piano. Rowan's development fund had closed a pre-dawn deal to buy Grant's Caribbean assets, every site I'd color-coded at 2 a.m. Scooped up in one move, the dates didn't match the cute ER meet he'd been circling that deal for months. Long before napkins and high chairs, he tried to separate business from us, and maybe that works on a spreadsheet, not in a human chest. I booked 2 tickets to St. Lucia. My daughter slept through takeoff, like she trusted the sky more than the ground. My father met me at the new Blake Caribbean Works building, put coffee in my hand before a speech, and introduced me to Dr. Selena Duval, a business intelligence specialist. With a gaze like a storm, I was engaged to Rowan. She said, "He has a pattern. He dates women. Inside development families, he listens. He moves early." She slid emails and timelines across the table. Then a letter of intent fell out like a loose nail. My father's company and Rowan's fund, 3 weeks old. My stomach dropped. So we were a synergy now. I stood up and the chair scraped. Everyone wanted to use me like a bridge, then looked surprised when I learned to burn. On the way down the mountain, a text came from an unknown number. "Meet me at the Vigi Lighthouse. Come alone. There are things you need to see." I went because curiosity and anger are siblings. A woman in running shoes said her name was Kara Quinn, and the sunglasses didn't hide the badge. FBI Financial Crimes. Grant's properties were a laundromat for the worst kind of money they needed inside. She got inside. And then she asked me to help them void Rowan's purchase by testifying. He manipulated me for intel, freeze the assets, seize the proof, justice by paperwork. I looked at the surf, chewing the rocks, and thought of maids and bellmen and line cooks who live shift to shift. What happens to them when everything freezes? I asked. She said there would be collateral damage. That phrase tastes like pennies. I told her I wouldn't be the weapon in someone else's story again. Find another way, I said, and her jaw tightened, but she nodded, because lines are lines. I went home and did my own rewriting. I told Rowan to leave the island. He tried a speech, saw my face, and kept it. My father apologized without a shield. I didn't grant him grace on the spot. I offered a deal. Make me an equal partner for real, not your daughter with a title. We will not merge with anyone. When the government auctions, Whitakers seized properties. We bid clean, we build clean, we pay clean, and whatever we can't do without breaking the place, we don't do. He stared like he was trying to see the girl who fell asleep on job sites. To the sound of rebar and concrete like batter, then he said, "The sentence I'd been starving for you. Lead, I'll follow." The next months were sunburn and spreadsheets, town hall meetings under almond trees, where elders mapped currents with calloused hands and teenagers mapped sustainability with phones. We brought local investors who were patient instead of loud. We paid above board, posted schedules. 2 months ahead hired divers to love reef more than marketing chefs, who knew farmers by first names, built water systems that shine behind the kitchen instead of infinity pools that brag from the front. 2 years later, I stood on scaffolding over Tamarin Reef with sea spray on my lips. Watching solar panels swing into place, my daughter sat with Miss Pearl, who bosses me harder than any chairman building a city out of sand and bottle caps. My phone buzzed with a press request, calling me the woman who changed the model. I said yes if they spelled the fishermen's names right. Grant and Kara came down the path like people practicing. How to be careful, he looked smaller and more human. I wanted to be petty. I wasn't, he said. He was sorry for the driveway and the studs and the way he made me feel like a supporting character in a story. I wrote he reports next week, I told him. I forgave him, not for him, for the space, forgiveness. Makes in your own chest, Kara said. Rowan cooperated once he saw the sale would be voided anyway. Immunity for him, time for Grant, different math for different men, and when they left I stood alone over a bay that finally felt like mine. Not because my name was on a sign, because the place behaved like a neighbor when no one was filming. People ask if I regret not burning Rowan to the ground. And here's the thing, revenge is just another leash you hold the other end, sure, but you're still tethered to the thing you hate. Building felt like going off leash, scary at first, then your legs remember. Opening day, an elder touched my arm and said, "You made a hotel that acts like a neighbor." I didn't cry in front of him. I went into the walk-in fridge and did it there, dramatic but not rude. My daughter tugged my sleeve and asked if we're builders like Grandpa we are, I said. But we build different things. What do you build? She asked. Possibilities, I said, places where people remember. They belong to each other. So tell me, was I right to refuse revenge when I could have leveled two men who used me, or did I let them off too easy? Do we change the world more by punishing what's wrong, or by building something better? Right in front of it, if you've worked hotels or watched a pretty word like sustainable get used as perfume, I want your story. Drop your take, tell me where you're watching from. And if this hits something true, subscribe for more real stories about people who were counted out, then counted themselves in.